right, and welcome to Fast Break Breakfast NBA podcast. My name is Keith, here once again with my buddies through the miracle of computer phone, here with a festive Chuck Anderson.
Hey now, hey now.
And a holly jolly John Burr.
Bah humbug.
That was I tried my best FM radio. I'm leaning into it. John Burr, the Grinch that stole the Christmas. The Christmas joy hasn't been robbed for you, John. It's been a tribulation. A bit. Yeah.
I don't know if this is some sort of coping mechanism, but when things get super unbelievably bad, I tend to do the thing where I reassess my life and decide that, you know what, could be worse.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
Start looking at the others less fortunate. What are we talking about?
Yes,
okay.
I pretty much
Take
gloat.
stock.
I pretty much gloat over the truly impoverished. and I basically point to the scoreboard.
I believe that was the end of Dickens's Christmas Carol.
Yeah, but let's just say that
could be worse.
Tennesseans ain't built for this. Whatever this weather is, our homes, our structures, you guys, it's a crutch where sometimes I'm like, well, so the weather's rough here, and then it's obviously bad radio. But I mean, before Christmas, we were afflicted with something to endure. Our homes are not meant to endure single digits, as it turns out. And John, you had some pipes freeze and burst. Yes. So I guess we'll go through it because it is kind of funny. So Christmas Eve.
No, humor is disaster plus time. And it's been 4 days, right? Is that enough time?
Christmas Eve, it's the day before Christmas. I'm about to embark on this epic what turns out to be 4.5 hour, 4-person involved construction of a child's kitchen. So before you're going to embark on such a arduous journey, what do? You sit down, you have a nice long constitutional, right?
Okay.
Right.
As I'm engaging my bidet, as you would,
right,
I feel a slight trickle not only on one end but on the other.
The bidet was the clue.
I immediately start to be like, the strength of my bidet is very weak. Also, is it somehow landing on my head? Have I opened a wormhole on my head? And as I look
like Half-Life.
As I look up, the light fixture falls onto my face and water just starts coming through my bathroom ceiling.
Oh.
So we end up, pipe bursts over my bathroom. There was a pipe in our attic that we didn't even know existed. That was ancient and ran to the outside. I mean, we did everything you're supposed to do, but that burst. And then after 3 days without water, and we stay in the house despite having family all around, we stay in the house because we've assembled this Christmas tree and all the presents are there, and we want her to have this thing, and so we're dumping in buckets, and it's a nightmare, and we don't love each other anymore. There's never it's very bad. But finally we get water after 3 days, but then the day we get water back, while the plumber is fixing the house, the pipes burst in my back studio. So it's just been
it's one of those. So we are supposed to leave town. We're going to Knoxville for the in-laws, and we're beset with these freezing temperatures, below what normally is. And so we have all the pipes, just the water running. We're not dripping. No.
It's a full flow.
Yeah. We're just leave the water on.
That's what we were doing too, just because we were so afraid.
So I thought we'd endured it because we'd made it through it'd been like 48 hours of 9 degrees outside. And we're like, all right. So I think if it hadn't done it yet, hopefully we're all right. And we're like hours away from leaving. We're packing the car and we've got the sink on running. And then the boy goes to the refrigerator. He's like, the water's not working in the refrigerator. And I'm like, oh, I guess this thing that's kind of messed up. It's an old refrigerator. And so it takes us a second. And then I realize the sink's running. It's set to warm. Well, if I go over to cold, nothing. I'm like, oh, now our pipe's frozen. So I'm like, can we leave town?
That's interesting. I wonder because we had started using warm water in our trickle.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering if we trickled incorrectly.
Well, I was super confused. And again, please let me know if you're a listener. I was super confused because I thought our issue with our old home, basically everything's been replaced inside. But I thought like we have the shaded area where the water comes from the street, and like maybe it's just, even though it's in ground, I thought we could froze there. But I'm like, but if it's already gotten to the point where it splits between hot and cold, it's got to be somewhere in my house. I have no idea where it is, And so, our thought now is, can we leave the home for days, not knowing if our pipes are going to burst? And the thing that really assured me it was okay to leave town, and this hadn't occurred to me, even though I consider myself to be somewhat intelligent, everything online's like, hey, if your pipe has burst, you don't got to worry about it until it thaws. I'm like, that makes sense to me. But the ice isn't going to come through the wall or something. So I went to the street, and we'd already planned this as a backup. I cut off the water to the house.
That is hard, by the way.
Well, see, we've lived a nightmare in this home for 12 years, and now I can do it quickly. So I cut off the water at the street. I emptied out all the warm water as far as I could tell. We just emptied all the water out of everything. We left town, and we're like, listen, when it thaws, we'll figure out if we got a problem. As far as I can tell, 2 days later, no problem for us. So we got lucky as far as ours. I'm sorry you were not as lucky, John.
So our sundry plumbers that came to the house all looked like Martin Sheen at the end of, or at the beginning of Apocalypse Now. And they told me figures that I had to be apocryphal.
You mean gorgeous?
Stunning eyes. They'd been through it. They both told me what had to be apocryphal numbers of like 90% of apartment complexes in the greater Nashville area had pipes burst.
Yeah. So like my super precious parents, like they drove over on Christmas Day from Mount Juliet, about 30 minutes away from Nashville.
Yeah, I was about to say, isn't this just what's done?
Very sweet of them, but still, like we weren't with them on Christmas Day. And so they came over to make sure there was no noticeable leaks, but we've endured. I'm sorry you had to go through all that. Was this the worst part of your Christmas, or were any lower?
It got worse. It got worse on Christmas Day when the Grizzlies played the Warriors.
Yeah, man, that ruined that. I was thinking about honestly, John, I was thinking about you, because every year we've done the show, we do a par fadeaway. We've done something. And I
always do Christmas.
No, but I'm saying we've done something like 600 par fadeaways. Maybe it's not like 400, but whatever. We've done hundreds of par fadeaways, and every year for Christmas, you look forward to the Christmas Day games. You always say, you know what, this is part of my thing. Maybe you don't have. Maybe I don't know your personal life is how important the Christmas tradition is to you, but I do know the basketball part of Christmas, huge, and it's a thing that you love. And this is the first year ever that your team, the Grizzlies, was on it, and could not have been more unpleasant. It was one of the more unpleasant games ever.
I thought so until Tuesday, which may have been more unpleasant.
No, I didn't mind losing to the Suns without Devin Booker. Doesn't bug me because I don't dislike them so much. I dislike the Warriors, and I used to like Klay Thompson. I don't like Klay Thompson anymore.
No,
he seems mean.
He's number one. He's surpassed Draymond as
like. I used to love Klay, man. I thought everyone's like, man, Klay's so cool. He's so calm. He's so like relaxed.
I mean, y'all brought a sociopath, the sociopath out of that man. He smokes weed and rides in boats wearing a captain's hat.
Yeah,
and he wanted to skin Dylan Brooks alive.
He's not the cuddly Klay I thought existed.
No, he was full. I got 4. He was yelling. He was retaliating. And I mean, y'all woke up a part of him I don't think he knew existed.
Dylan Brooks is broken. His post-game comments were not the comments of a man who's still sure.
What I can't get over about so Dylan Brooks went off on the referees about the refereeing being just unhinged and just they have to do better. As of this recording, he has not been fined. Well, I don't understand. Are the Grizzlies not getting fined for all their comments about the referees? That the referees are just taking it out on them?
Is there a Sternian like controversy to just let the Grizz continue to run their mouths? Because
that's what I'm saying. This is so weird.
I am concerned that we are becoming like the villains of the NBA. Like I know Chuck has already turned against us. I know in my NBA threads and our Patreon only NBA Slack chat, everyone roots against the Grizzlies pretty hard.
We knew it was coming.
I'm trying I never know anything's coming. I'm trying desperately to find a way to embrace my like inner Ric Flair, like
be the bad guy.
Yeah, be the bad guy. But I gotta admit, as a fan of mostly plucky underdogs my entire life, This is going to take some getting used to. Chuck, you're very used to
I agree.
this.
I'm versed,
As a front-running,
versed.
hog-calling, monstrous Heat fan.
Look, don't be mad at me because we have Pat Riley and you guys had Chris Wallace.
See, I need to master this tone of voice.
Don't be mad at me because we use the word culture instead of saying dynasty when we've won multiple championships and you haven't.
I also, by the way, Chuck, you make a good point, but so much of this stuff, as someone who covers the Grizzlies, I don't hear about it until I hear from the other teams. I had no idea Dylan Brooks. Maybe this is just my fault for just being bad at my job. I didn't know Dylan Brooks called the Grizzlies a dynasty, and then I hear like they're talking about being a dynasty. I'm like, who? When? Is this like what are we talking about? Is this did the SB Nation Grizzlies do something dumb again? Like I'm like, what are they talking about? And they're like, oh, I guess Dylan said something
basketball
weird.
Players.
I never know about the stuff they're actually doing. I thought we traded for Danny Green because Danny Green was going to take the team offline. I thought that's what his locker room leadership was supposed to be about. Be less online, guys. Dylan Brooks doesn't even have Twitter. When is he saying these things?
He's saying them sometime, and Ja, I mean, Ja can back it up on the court, and he's incredible and he's spectacular and all that stuff. But you got to be like, you got to at least recognize that there are good players, good teams in the West, right? No. Like you can't just assume that you're going to walk through the West, especially when
that quote was goaded out of Ja. That was just a sound bite.
But still, you got to be careful, especially
you got to be careful.
You got to be careful, and it's that time where the tides are turning. You got
old fans will remember a segment we had called "Text from a Scorned Heat Fan."
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Might I pull up the text from one Grizzlies fan that I correspond with during the course of a game and just read them aloud without editing?
Okay.
We have to kill them. Kill is in all caps. No quarter for the enemy. Klay Thompson's head on a pike stuff. Has to be embarrassing. Oh, my stupid nephew is here talking stuff. It's on. We suck in big games. What the F, Jaren? What does he not understand? That was a clear foul. Honestly, I'm afraid to play the Warriors because I think Draymond will try to willfully hurt Ja. This is the biggest defeat of my life. I might punch a 12-year-old. Send Jaren to the hustle. We are the worst shooting team ever. We will always just be the Grizzlies. Not watching anymore. Not watching anymore. Wish Ja hadn't said that stuff about not being worried about the West. Looks like a fool. I no longer have TV control. I can watch it now. What's that? I'm watching the game now. Grizzlies got to make a trade. Dylan Brooks equals Adolf Hitler. And then radio silence for 2 days.
And that was not me, by the way. Literally, that's not me. I get sullen and bitter. I don't rage tweet or text. I become withdrawn and then start making jokes. So
guys, just if it makes you feel better, nobody beats the Warriors in Oakland or in the Bay Area anymore. Yeah. They're not in Oakland anymore.
They didn't even have Steph.
They are unbeatable in their home court. So if you want to beat them, hopefully you play them at home.
Well, I'll continue. I was not just totally dismayed and decided to, like I said last week, go to Memphis to watch them play the Suns.
Yeah, you did.
I am now dismayed.
Yes.
If your team gets wrecked on Christmas Day, don't think you can rally the troops by driving by yourself to Memphis to watch a game, because you will then have to drive home by yourself 4.5 hours thinking about, why did I do this?
There is nothing worse than that Memphis to Nashville drive home after a Grizzlies loss. No, Chuck, let's just talk. What was your best thing of Christmas and your worst? Did you have any worst moment of Christmas?
So I ended up with my girlfriend at her parents' house in northern Indiana, which is the middle of the bomb cyclone, the eyeball of it.
Is that near Gary?
You got some bomb cyclone.
Yeah. It's about 35 minutes, 40 minutes from Gary.
Okay, there's a very famous shrimp place in Gary. We'll talk offline.
Roger that. But it was -8 degrees. with 32-mile-an-hour winds, and it felt like -45 outside.
You went outside just to check it out? You're like, I gotta know.
No, I went outside to do a polar bear plunge because my girlfriend's parents live on a pond.
Oh, yes,
so
sir.
I wanted to Wim Hof it. So I go out there in snow boots and shorts, no hat, no gloves. And I took a shovel just in case I needed to break through. The pond was frozen solid. I walked on it. Couldn't do it. It was so cold. Couldn't do a polar bear plunge. So that was my Christmas. I was stuck in the house.
Are polar bear plunges recommended when it's that cold? Do you need to have any form of preparation?
You just, I mean, I do.
Your body, can it go into shock?
No, I mean, it can if you're a wimp.
What's better for you, a pound of raw ground beef every morning or jumping in frozen pond when it's minus 45 wind chill?
So I was just going to be a quick in and out. I wasn't going to spend time in there. I wanted to just shock my system, come inside and take a hot shower, but I couldn't. It was so cold, a pond froze over. Yeah. So that was my Christmas. I was inside, and then I had a sinus infection. Life is great, guys. Life is great. But I am happy.
I'm sorry. You're saying you went outside wearing no clothes and then got ill afterwards.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
What I just
probably could be related. But I am grateful that I can call my landlord when things go bad in my house. That's one thing I know you guys like have equity and like are building wealth that you could pass on to people, but I don't. The things that you own end up owning you.
Yeah, and tremendous amount of stress. Yeah.
A lot of stress. I wasn't worried at all with my pipes burst. I was like, oh, good. I do have renter's insurance. I could probably get a new couch. That'd be awesome.
I think people really overestimate what insurance companies will do for you sometimes.
That's true.
Well, I have USAA. Okay,
oh yeah, you're living a different life.
There you go. My worst thing of Christmas was not specifically the anxiety over the pipes, but I guess we decided to travel, and it was so cold that that day, and I'm traveling with small kids. I decided, hey, it's smart. At least maybe in my car, I should probably put a very basic survival kit. Just have some blankets, some water. Maybe it's an extra pair of gloves, like 2 pairs of gloves for every person. I'm like, I'll bring a flashlight. I'll bring a little small pocket knife just in case, worst case scenario. And nothing bad happened. But then we get to Christmas morning, and I've been carrying this pocket knife around for for a couple days. I'm not a knife guy. And Christmas morning comes, and my son gets like this little watch thing that like has a band, and like scissors aren't doing it because there's no gap.
Is this another you bleed everywhere story?
Yeah, there's a I only got a handful of story genres. There's no gap for the scissors to go underneath this little plastic band. And I'm like, all right, I'll get this tiny, and I'm talking, this is not one of those terrifying, huge butterfly blades that Chuck left in my yard one time. This is the world's most adorable knife. It is so small. And so like I wedge it sideways under the plastic thing, and then I start turning it and getting a little loose. I'm sawing, and then it pops through, and I just jam it into my finger. Like of the offhand, and I'm like, oh man, I cut myself. And so like I jam it in, I'm like, that's gonna bleed a lot because that was just a knife that I just stabbed my index finger with. So it's like the whole family. It's my 2 kids, my wife, her parents, my brother and sister-in-law, their 2 kids and a baby. So we're all around, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna bleed a lot. I cut myself. So I'm holding the thing tight on my finger. And I, for the first time in my life, had the vasovagal reaction to my own blood. I've always been like, listen, if I'm getting a vasectomy, I'm
having it now.
But I've never ever had it when it was my own thing. And I'm just like squeezing my finger, like I don't want to like make a big deal because that's embarrassing. And but I can feel like my face getting hot. I'm getting kind of sweaty, and I'm like, luckily I got a great life partner, and I'm looking at her, and I'm like. I'm not doing well. and I'm like, but don't say anything. So she's like, so she went and gets me some grapes, munch on some grapes, get that blood sugar back up, get my blood pressure back going. So I survived. I just stabbed myself with, again, the world's daintiest knife. Yes, I'm not a knife guy. So that was probably the low point was luckily it was a clean cut. It's sealed up nice, but a solid 1 hour of bleeding. We were taking turns opening presents. I just skipped a few rounds. It was cool. No one, I don't think anyone suspected anything. Anyways, we should probably move forward with the format of the show. We've talked basketball. We've already covered the Grizzlies. Don't need to talk about them again, hopefully, right? No, how about breakfast? Breakfast, gentlemen. Chuck, you got any breakfast tales for us?
Today I did homemade avocado toast, but I'm not going to talk about that.
Lovely.
I'm going to talk about, so you guys remember I went to that place in Alabama called Big Bad Breakfast, and everybody wore shirts that said Lord have mercy. Well, apparently it's a chain.
Yeah, it's here.
There's one on Charlotte Avenue.
Yeah.
In Nashville. So I went to that and I had the Moab, which is the mother of all biscuits.
Yes.
Which is that biscuit that I told you was an incredible homemade biscuit made all the time fresh with a fat pickle brine piece of chicken, fried chicken in it, and then a slice of cheese and some hash brown cakes. And that was yesterday, and it was tremendous.
So let's talk about the Moab. I've had it. I like it. I like everything you described. However, I am concerned that I don't think the biscuit is an order of magnitude better than a Cracker Barrel biscuit. Nor do I think the hash browns are an order of magnitude better. Nay, are probably worse than Waffle House hash browns. And finally, and furthermore, I cannot say that chicken biscuit sandwich is an order of magnitude better than Chick-fil-A. Why am I going to wait a very long time at Big Bad Breakfast to eat there ever again? I ask you.
You're right. Now, while I would compare that chicken biscuit to a Hardee's chicken biscuit, that's where I would go with it. It is not as enjoyable as a Bojangles chicken biscuit.
It's not.
The chicken,
and therefore,
it is a $9 biscuit. Probably shouldn't. Yeah. Look, you do what you do when you can, right? Is that a saying, or did I just make that up?
It sounds good.
To get 60.
I was there.
Yeah.
So I was there. I was like, look at this biscuit. It looks great, and I ate it.
Moab.
It was great. The Moab. It isn't the greatest biscuit of all time, but it is solid. It is phenomenal, and I'll call it tremendous. It is a tremendous biscuit.
You guys keep saying Moab, and the most important thing about Moab that I know is that's one of Lot's sons, and the Moabites were forbidden from the assembly of God because of their involvement of cursing the children of Israel, I believe, with Balaam.
Okay, cool.
So I don't know if the Moab had any reference to that, if it was an Old Testament reference with
no, I think the Moab in the military is the mother of all bombs, which is like a 40,000-pound bomb that they release out of the back of a C-130.
Is that a bunker buster or is that something different?
I think that's just like a city leveler.
Oh, yeah. Oh, is that one of those we were going to drop into that fictional Osama bin Laden mountain?
Right. That's what
didn't
they
actually exist.
To do, but because he was in a city.
Right. John, what's your breakfast?
I'm still trying to get past bunker buster and city leveler.
Which NBA player would we name the bunker buster, and which one would we call the city leveler?
Dwight Howard and
bunker buster is Dwight Howard. Yes, done. Writes
city
itself.
Leveler
the city leveler.
Giannis
I love it.
So I was on my way to Bojangles today to do my Bojangles followed by McGaw's donuts.
Good combo.
When I got the call from my significant other saying, turn around, Goldie's throwing up.
No,
she's not going to school.
Oh.
So I have had Chewy vitamins for breakfast. Not like Chewy Flintstones vitamins. They're like gummies. They look like orange slices.
Oh, I thought you were going to say they were vitamins that have gone bad. They were supposed to initially to be swallowed, but now they're chewy. But no, they're gummies. Okay.
Yeah, I'm ready to go.
Glad you're getting supplements. I mean,
that's what I do. Like when I'm up too early and the child wears me out very quickly, and I'm kind of getting like Keith after plunging a knife into his head, lightheaded just from existing.
Yeah,
I tend to turn to these supplemental vitamins. Although I have to admit the stress of the holidays, Chuck, as my sponsor, I hate for you to find out this way, I have relapsed and I am drinking again.
Oh, we saw the sweet
diet soda, which I
that is some non-alcoholic Diet Coke. It looks like.
Yeah,
you held it up to the camera, much darker amber, much deeper color than your.
And I really do feel like a crackhead, like going back to the
back on your soda
part of town.
Yeah.
Like I feel really, really bad about it. I haven't had it in like 5 years.
Oh wow!
There's nothing wrong with diet soda. There's nothing wrong.
I just want to put it this way, Chuck. It was harder to quit drinking diet soda than alcohol.
It's a
something has
gateway
to be wrong.
drug, Chuck. It's a slippery slope.
You're drinking 48 ounces of caffeine. Yeah, it's a thing.
My breakfast was just assorted leftovers from the in-laws from the Christmas traveling. We had John's holding up 2 Route 44 cups. 88 ounces
88.
of
Get on my level.
88 ounces to bondage. That's what that is.
That's incredible. What are the 88 things from Kill Bill?
88 keys to life.
No, I had some pumpkin bread. I had some banana bread and some.
How good is pumpkin bread? Let's talk about it.
It's awesome. Amazing.
It's as good as all other pumpkin things are bad.
Yeah.
Oh, I love pumpkin pie.
I love a pumpkin pie, but that's not neither here nor there.
Pumpkin spices.
Those were our breakfasts. After our breakfast, we moved to our breakfast in bed apologies. This is our opportunity to get the show on the rails, hopefully. And it's the first time frequently we talk about the NBA, which we've done a little bit. We've shoehorned some in. But anyways, does anyone have anything they need to apologize for that they got incorrect in any previous episodes? Chuck, what would you like to apologize for?
So it was brought up that last week. I did a Forget Paris reference. A Billy Crystal, Deborah Winger classic with Billy Crystal playing a NBA referee who has to deal with his father's passing and the stages of grief.
Classic.
I apologize that it took us 9 seasons to do this.
Oh, surely we mentioned it before, right?
I mean, we've been playing in the My Giant space more.
Yes.
This is kind of the
Celtic
My Giant
Pride.
Prequel.
Yeah.
This is kind of the My Giant prequel.
Joanna Man. That's a lot. That's more our wheelhouse. So I'm just I'm sorry that we never, touched on this classic. And I think we
don't talk about Allen Houston in black and white enough.
Oh man.
My apology. I got a couple. One, we couldn't remember the name of the guy who was shooting underhand free throws last episode. It was Chinanu Okuaku.
Yeah, I Googled it during the show, but I just couldn't say it. So I didn't.
If he's not on the Basketball Reference MVP tracker list, I don't have access to this information.
Yeah. So we didn't get that right. Also, I misspoke a couple weeks ago talking about the Herschel Walker trade, comparing the Gobert trade to the Herschel Walker trade. I said that after the trade, Herschel Walker was good that first season for the Cowboys. Obviously, he got traded from the Cowboys to the Vikings, and it's up for debate how good he was in that first season with the Vikings. It was a bit of a letdown. By the way, the Gobert trade, oh my God, it's hilarious.
I'll save it. I got stuff to talk about.
Oh, you got stuff about it? Okay.
Oh yeah, I have a Gobert things as well.
So I could have checked the show doc. This is just me winging it. That's my bad. We'll save it. All right, John, what do you got to make right in the world?
Well, I feel like we already kind of went. I was going to apologize for like the Grizzlies hubristic overconfidence, but I guess I want to apologize. How do I wedge this in? I want to apologize for not acknowledging the majesty of former Grizzly Melton enough, and how I basically have been out of sight, out of minding this, not watching the Sixers very much as I used to watch them all the time. One of my favorite teams. It has been painful for me to watch Melton thrive, which is not the correct emotion I should be experiencing for someone I want to root for. But I'm a very selfish sports fan. Could not watch Marc Gasol on the Raptors. I always wanted Melton we argued many times. I wanted Melton to start for the Grizzlies. I was a big Melton believer, and Keith, has a Twitter career based off of Melton Mania.
Yeah.
And I mean, it needs to be acknowledged that, like, I don't think I'm crazy for saying this could be an all NBA defensive player on the Sixers. Like, I feel like it's all setting up for Melton. I think he has more 3-pointers than anybody on our team right now, as we miss every 3-pointer we take.
Yeah, Melton has more threes than any Grizzlies player right now. So this is good, John. I appreciate you doing this, and I did not.
We start a player. I was going to talk about. Can I talk about Zaire just for a moment?
If you go ahead.
We start a player who, to me, is the antithesis of Melton. Like, Melton, when I watch Melton, I was always like, what a heady basketball play. His hands are on everything. He hustles more than everybody else. I watch Zaire Williams. I'm like, boy, he's tall.
Yeah. So, well, first of all, Zaire doesn't start, John.
Well, you know what I mean.
Yeah, they play him a lot. I had this. You might like. I don't think I told you this, John. This was a stat from yesterday's Grits and Grinds. I told you this, how Zaire's one of 7 guys in the NBA right now who hasn't recovered a loose ball this season with I believe a minimum of 100 minutes played. But then I looked it up last year of all the
he's
players,
like 22.
He's 20. He's 21. Last year he was 20. I looked this up. There were 277 players last year who played at least 1,000 minutes in the NBA.
He's playing like a 41-year-old Yugoslavian.
Only 16 of them recovered fewer loose balls than Zaire. None of them are under 25. 8 of the 16 are over 30. So it's like, this guy you know how, like, some people have a nose for the ball? He has got like that polarity fighting where the same magnets can't touch. He's how Maglev trains work with the ball. No, this is funny because, like, I basically feel like I have my own guardrails on Grits and Grinds to just not listen. I've said my piece several times about Melton. I'll just let it go. But when, like, you have these struggles now, when you add up the replacements, you add up the stats of the Grizzlies replacements, Roddy plus Conchar plus Zaire Williams, you put all their stats together, they have like fewer threes, fewer assists, fewer rebounds than just Melton by himself. Fewer steals.
I infamously quit a very long
Zyjon Dave. I don't know, whatever.
We can't.
Zadavid Hodchar.
Con Wiltshire. Yeah. I did it.
That's a good one.
Yeah. All right.
I very infamously amongst my friends quit the Titans over the AJ Brown trade. There's a part of me that wanted to quit over the Melton move.
It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous to quit over trading a 7th man. Okay. Mm-hmm. That is. But so you're still hurt. You say you're still hurt enough where you don't enjoy watching it. For me, I'm like, all right,
can't.
They didn't want him.
Can we talk about that though? Like, you take huge pleasure in being correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's the only one.
And I don't know if this is because
doesn't everyone have that negative part of the personality?
I do not. I think I don't know if it's because I'm never right. But like, I get nothing out of it. It's almost like, oh, I was right. I wish I was dead. Like, it almost makes it worse for me. Whereas you're getting pleasure from being right. I think it makes it worse to be right. The Grizzlies
are doing well. Okay. They're in a slump.
Yes.
They're in a slump. And I definitely think they would be better with Melton. Part of that helps me enjoy it, where I'm like, Melton's doing great. Like, I had tiny seeds of doubt that this one little random guy that I've grown obsessed with, I have too favorable of an opinion of him. And I'm worried if he goes somewhere else outside of a well-established team system, a good organization like the Grizzlies, what if he looks bad? What if he does terribly? So I am actually extremely euphoric that worst case scenario did not happen.
But he was always awesome, and Taylor just wouldn't play him. Like we knew
that was my contention. That was my contention. But the fact that he's on the Sixers and he's making 39% of his threes and he leads the NBA in steal percentage after being second in the NBA in steal percentage last season. No, I'm just like, I'm happy for the guy, and I enjoy watching him. Him making 5 3-pointers on Christmas Day was the peak basketball-wise for my day. He made 5 threes.
I mean, that almost put me in the dirt. Well, so can we allow? There's an NBA Twitter guy. I think he used to have a blog as well. Joe Mullinax, who pointed out
he's a Patreon supporter, John.
He's
but
right.
one
Well,
of our fans.
I wanted to push his. I wanted to.
Oh,
push
he's
stuff.
got his own Substack now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he has tweeted that the Grizzlies are behaving like a rebuilding team when they're a contender. And I kind of understand where he's coming from on the Melton maneuvers. Like I've just, I don't understand. And it's still haunting me, but I know this is an episode of Grits and Grinds and we need to move on.
No, it's fine. We haven't uncovered this. I get worried that I've already told a bleeding story. Now we're talking about Melton. I'm just worried we're not spreading our wings broad enough. We have all those listeners in California and Portland. And
hey guys,
I don't want them flipping it off.
I mean, we have a lot of Rudy Gobert content to get to. Chuck and I both.
Guys,
that's true. We do.
I think we should take a moment to reset. Okay, John. I think it would be helpful for everyone if you gave one thing you were grateful for about the Grizzlies. Just one thing.
It's not David Roddy.
Okay, but see, I'm trying to change the tone here.
Yeah.
But yeah,
they're as good as anybody in the West. Okay.
Yeah, they're
as good as anybody. I don't know.
But
who's
that
the
also
best
means
in the
you're going to
West.
get blown out by 30 points every once in a while.
Yeah, you're going to
because
lose
everybody
some.
in the West is going to lose big game. Every team in the league is going to get blown out by 30 at one point this year.
I think you're right. I think you're onto something there. Has everyone apologized? Yeah, I think we have, right?
Yep.
If you want to watch David Roddy play basketball, well, the best way to do that is with Grizzlies season tickets. They might, honestly, I believe they still have the 6-game holiday packs, despite it being the end of the Christmas season. It's still December. Anyways, if you want to see Grizz Next Gen, John Morant, Jaren Jackson Jr., Desmond Bane, all the Grizzlies highlights, you get the best games at the best prices with the best giveaways. The best way to do that is either the holiday packs, the half-season plans, the 10-game packs, or Grizzlies season tickets. To get your Grizzlies tickets, call 901-888-HOOP or click on grizzlies.com. All right, steak and eggs, best thing. What is the best thing you saw in the last week? For me, De'Anthony Melton has the highest three-point percentage on Christmas Day of all players who've attempted at least 7 3-point attempts. He's tied with
You're so gleeful, and I just feel despair.
But these are, I mean, first of all, I hope everyone understands these are absurd stats. They mean nothing.
An expert in.
They're tied with players who aren't actually good when you go back and look, because the good players play on Christmas a lot. No. I having fun. No, what are your guys? Chuck, let's steer us away, Chuck. What is your best thing?
What was great, my favorite thing maybe ever, was when I asked John to engage the neural network in his brain that is assigned to gratitude. His face looked like I handed him a calculus problem. It was a very interesting.
Or a grenade.
A grenade, like it was a nonverbal that was incredible. My best thing this week is the one and only, I know you guys love him, Orlando Robinson.
Hey now.
Taking a game from Rudy Gobert and absolutely dismantling him when the Heat played the Timberwolves the other night. Orlando Robinson, he is just another in a long line of Miami Heat bigs that I
don't know who that is.
Exactly. And John, you didn't know who Hassan Whiteside was until I came in here and was like, this guy Hassan Whiteside's the best, remember? And then I mean, you knew who Kelly the Lunch Lady Olynyk was, right?
Yeah, I did.
Everybody, but I loved him because he was the guy you wanted in a game who was going to score the last 20 points when you were down by 40. Like he was the guy. Then
Game 7 Kelly.
Then we got rid of Kelly Olynyk, and then we brought in Belly Olynyk. We had Nemanja Bjelica. He was the man. And now Orlando Robinson, who sounds like
he's taken over.
That's O-Dog.
He's taken over for Yurtsevin.
That's O-Dog. I forgot about you, Yurtsevin,
okay,
who hasn't really ever played except for last year, a few games. He got 15 rebounds a few times, and now I thought he was the reason why we didn't need Dwayne Dedmon anymore. But he might come back in March.
Yeah.
From what I've been reading. But Orlando Robinson, shout out. Really, what he did was solidify my understanding that the NBA intelligentsia, who for years told me Rudy Gobert is actually amazing, He is not, and I don't know when the intelligentsia is going to explain to me why he sucked like I thought he did.
Allow me a little song.
Dinklage, Peter Dinklage, Peter Dinklage, Peter Dinklage, Peter Dinklage, Peter Dinklage. A game of scones?
A game of scones. Stifle Tower edition.
What's up?
I'm going to give you guys 3 strikes each to to mix our metaphors a bit. Maybe we should have you guys foul out. It depends on how you do. I'm going to name a player, and you're going to tell me whether or not they have more blocks than Rudy Gobert this season. Chuck, since you brought this up, I'll let you go first, and we'll start with a hilarious softball. Walker Kessler. Does he have more blocks than Rudy Gobert this season?
So I watched the Warriors Jazz game last night. I really thought his name was Kessler Walker.
Oh,
and
sure.
That's a little more Star Warsy. I like that.
Kessler, Kessler Walker. Kessler, I will grant you, Chuck. If you told me what order do these two names go in before I'd ever heard of them, I would have picked Kessler Walker. They're like, listen, I'm gonna.
Right. And isn't there a Kessler? There is a Kessler in the league.
Kessler Edwards. There's been yeah.
Okay, so that's my brain. So I'm watching him play, and it blew me away.
Also, Walker Kessler's name is backwards. You are right, Chuck.
Okay, cool.
Walker Kessler is wrong.
If his name had been Kessler Walker, I wouldn't have poo-pooed his draft selection and looked like an idiot on the show. So maybe.
So I do know
filing grievance. Yeah,
I do know Walker Kessler is actually playing incredible basketball, which is why it is hilarious. So I'm going to say yes, he has more blocks than Rudy Gobert.
Does he have 20 more blocks than Rudy Gobert?
I don't know.
The answer is yes.
Can we do something that's never been done on the show before?
Absolutely.
I want to incept this game of scones.
Oh.
Absolutely.
What's that song?
I'm spinning the dreidel.
This is now a game of scones inside a game of scones. These are per 100 possession stats. Whose stats are better? Who has the higher field goal percentage between Rudy Gobert?
I am looking at a page of Rudy Gobert.
Yeah, this seems.
Well, that's fine. If you're not,
I'm closing the window.
Who has the higher field goal percentage? Chuck, go first. Walker Kessler or Rudy Gobert?
Walker Kessler.
That's correct. Who has?
I don't know.
Who averages more rebounds per 100 possessions? Walker Kessler or Rudy Gobert?
Rudy Gobert.
That's correct. It is Rudy Gobert. 18.4 to 16.6. Who averages more assists per 100 possessions? Walker Kessler or Rudy Gobert, Chuck?
Rudy Gobert.
No, y'all outfox yourself there. It's Walker Kessler.
Yeah.
Who averages more? We already know blocks. Here. If you multiply Rudy Gobert's blocks per 100 by 2, who averages more? Gobert times 2 or Walker Kessler? Yeah, Kessler still
destroying him.
5.1 per 100 possessions. Gobert 1.9. Who averages more turnovers per 100 possessions? Gobert or Kessler?
Let's go Rudy Gobert.
Yeah, Gobert averages more. Who has a higher free throw percentage? Chuck, I'm not sure if we're doing this back and forth correctly, Chuck. Gobert.
Sorry, Chuck,
or Kessler?
you get a couple.
Yeah. Higher free throw percentage.
Walker Kessler.
No, it's Gobert. That 10 years in the league, he's brought it up to 70%. He's doing a good job. Who has the higher defensive box plus minus? Going to our advanced stats. Kessler or Gobert? Back to your court. Chuck. You do a couple in a row. Who has the better defensive plus minus?
Let's go
box
with
plus minus.
Let's go with Kessler Walker.
Yeah, Kessler Walker by a lot. Who has the higher VORP value over replacement player? This is to you, John. Gobert.
Oh, this is just mean.
I'll stay on the Kessler run.
Yeah, it's Kessler. The Kessler run. Isn't that is from start? He did the Kessler run in 1.2 parsecs or something.
Parsecs.
Anyways, I think we can now spin the Dreidel, get back out of that.
Right.
That was a game of scones inside the game of scones. Now back to your game of scones, John.
I'm reopening the window.
The initial game of scones was who has more blocks, this player X or Gobert. All right, Chuck 1 for 1.
Chuck 1 for 1.
Chuck got one.
I gave him a softball. The game truly begins now, Keith. It's a strikeout game, so hopefully that's not too deleterious. Let's go with Steven Adams.
Steven Adams is averaging a career high in blocks per game. I don't think it's enough yet. I'm gonna say Gobert.
Woo, well done. I tried to get you.
Yeah.
0 strikes for either of you. Back to you, Chuck. Clint Capella.
Clint Capella, yes. More.
Actually, no. 2 less than Rudy Gobert. Back to you, Keith.
Are we doing totals, by the way? Are we doing totals?
We're doing totals.
Okay,
total
good to know.
Kevin Durant.
Ooh. I'm going to say Gobert.
Kevin Durant has 14 more blocks. Than
Wow,
Rudy Gobert.
man. That's a lot more. That's a strike for me. All right.
1 strike for Keith. Bismack Biyombo, Chuck.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. He does. He has more.
Wow.
Bismack Biyombo has 3 more blocks.
That's amazing to me.
Than Rudy Gobert.
Wow.
Alexej Pokusevski, Keith.
Oh man, he was hot with the shot blocks early in the year. I'm gonna say yeah. Poku still yes. More block shots.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Daniel Gafford, Chuck.
No.
Oh, he's got to come on. Got to be yes. No. Come on, Gafford, do it for me, Gafford.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's a strike for Chuck.
Strike for Chuck. I believe Chuck. Do you have 2 or 1?
Just 1 each.
1.
Okay, that was your first one.
No, I got.
Okay, I think you missed one earlier.
Oh, did you?
We'll have to check. We'll have to check the tape.
We'll check the tape.
Ever checks the tape? All right, here we go.
Oh yeah, I think he said Clint Capella. So yeah, Chuck has
all right,
2 strikes. All right, so Chuck's on the verge of striking out.
All right.
John Collins, Keith.
No chance.
He has 1 less block than Rudy Gobert.
Woo! I wouldn't think it was close, but I'm glad to get that one correct.
In 17 games, Chuck, does Jaren Jackson Jr. have more blocks than Rudy Gobert?
Yes.
Not only does he have more blocks than Rudy Gobert,
Chuck.
He has like 14 more blocks than Rudy.
Well,
Gobert.
the like 17 games thing made me pucker.
Yeah,
I get it.
Yeah, I understand. It felt like a trap.
All right, Keith, let's get funky. Does Shai Gilgeous-Alexander have more blocks than Rudy Gobert?
I'm gonna say yes.
He does not, but it's insanely close.
Oh man.
He's played 1 more game than Rudy Gobert and has 3 less blocks than Rudy Gobert. What is happening? All right, both of you have strikes. Chuck, let's go to you. Bol.
Yes, he's a Bol baller.
Okay, that's correct. Keith, back to you.
All right.
I look up Bol stats.
Did you guys see the Bol dunk?
Yes.
Wasn't it dunk? First of all,
I
believe we've talked about this on the show before, and I believe my previous definition, which I'm sticking with, is any forceful throwing of the ball from above the rim is a dunk. I don't care how far away you are. If you're above the rim and you throw it down, for me, that's a dunk. I don't need rim. I don't need rim. Any throwdown is a dunk from my book.
Right, because if you were playing pickup basketball, you would say that dude flushed it. But because you can see it,
maybe we should do it by
terminology.
If we did it, would we consider it a dunk? Which actually that would probably be better.
No, that makes sense.
Yeah, no. Definitely...
Do you have to touch the rim for it to be a dunk? Is I think a fair question. I think reasonable people can disagree. I'm planting my flag with if you throw it down, you're above, throw it down. You can be at half court. If you can somehow get the angle, if you can jump high enough to have the angle of the ball going down the whole time, I'm fine with it.
NBA Jam.
Yeah, I'll call that a dunk.
That's more of a shot put. Keith, Christian Coloco. I repeat, Christian Coloco.
I am not aware of Coloco's stylings that much this season, so I'm going to say no, although I haven't seen enough Raptors. Although I'm going to watch them this afternoon. No, I'm going to say no. Gobert has more.
Good day, sir. You drank fizzy lifting drink. Christian Coloco has more blocks than Rudy Gobert.
Oh, no.
That is a loss
I
got to
do the Shaq meme. I got to apologize. I wasn't familiar with your game.
You are not familiar. Casual.
I am a casual. Wow. I got to turn in my Raptors socks and pajama shorts that I own.
The only person who enjoyed that game more than me was Donovan Mitchell.
Yeah. We lost Chuck. Was that on purpose?
Uh-oh.
All right, so that was congratulations, Chuck, you win. That was a game of scones that had another game of scones wrapped inside of it. I believe all of that came in a little breakfast burrito that was your best thing.
We were inverted.
Did you have another best thing, Chuck? Oh, and I haven't said it yet. The Timberwolves have lost 7 straight when Gobert plays. Okay.
I mean,
it's a catastrophe for them.
I just like they've leveraged everything. I mean, if they would have just kept their draft pick, can you imagine that?
If they would have kept Walker Kessler, Walker, and just been cool.
Walker Kessler.
If they just would have signed Kyle Anderson like I told them to, and they did,
right?
Drafted this big white stiff who's awesome,
and Vanderbilt
just gave the ball to Anthony Edwards.
Keith, I feel pleasure at being right because I was always on the Donovan Mitchell over Rudy Gobert argument, always, because there's wings are so important.
I think most people were always
it doesn't happen for me often.
Not to take away your victory, John.
But I think that what we may need to look back on is how incredible Mike Malone was, maybe. Because he got 60 games out of those two, and apparently Rudy Gobert is bad. Like, can someone explain to me why
you mean Quinn Snyder?
Heads?
Yeah, not Mike
Quinn
Malone.
Snyder. Sorry,
Quinn Snyder. You threw us for a moment.
But
Matches Malone.
You got us off the trail for a moment. No, it's fine.
Sorry.
No,
Quinn Snyder.
They were balling for a while, and I don't know. It is a great question for me. Has Gobert fallen off? Like, is he suddenly worse? Did he need this system somehow in Utah that they had?
And Chris Finch felt like he did wondrous things last year with that team. Like, he seemed like a magical kind of coach, a guy who could figure out things.
All they needed, all the Timberwolves needed was just to give Anthony Edwards the ball.
That's it.
And on Wednesday night, you had Zion and Anthony Edwards going head to head. Maybe this is my best thing. I don't know. Who cares? We're in that segment. It was awesome. They were just trading body blows back and forth. And it's like, they could have won. And then we don't have this fun stat that the Timberwolves have lost 7 straight with Rudy Gobert. And some of these, they haven't had Kyle Anderson. They need Kyle Anderson. Clearly, Karl Anthony Towns is not playing in these games. Their guards are not amazing. But Anthony Edwards is amazing. And it's just like, they gave it all for this short-term thing because John Conchar got 17 rebounds in a game against him. Because Brandon Clark averaged 11 rebounds per game in the playoffs against him. It was such a weird way to go all in. Like, no one knows if Cat and Gobert is going to play together. Let's trade everything for this guy who kind of a stiff. And if you just kept Jared Vanderbilt and Walker Kessler, what if you traded? What if you traded for Larry Markkinen instead? What if you used half of that haul just to get Larry Markkinen, who's incredible now? I can apologize about that. He's really out.
He's amazing.
Anyways, did you do it best? I'm lost this whole day. John, did you finish it best? Were you just saying that you're happy you were right?
No, my best was I did my best, I think.
Okay.
Right?
I don't know. Chuck did it best. It's holidays. I can't keep track of anything.
No, I didn't. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
The fairy tale Luka game was my best.
Oh my God.
Unbelievable to have a 60-point triple-double, which I don't know if anyone's ever done before. Please, God, don't let there be a game of scones about this.
James Harden has done it.
Okay.
And but a 60-point, 20 rebound triple-double.
Right.
Now we're going to do our novelty stats. No.
And then to have the last second play be all him, like that's the Larry Bird home video I watch 6 times a year.
I want to kind of just highlight that play, not for the play itself, which is rare and kind of fluky and it was fun, but it was his reaction to hitting that shot. And I'm currently with my son, and when he was like 2 and he would get super excited, he would do the same thing Luka did. Like it felt like this kind of amazing event.
Didn't know what to do with his hands.
Didn't know what to do with his hands.
I don't know what to do with my hands. He's just shaking them.
Pure joy.
Did you hear it? He thought they were ahead.
Right.
His celebration. I mean, listen,
Yes.
you could celebrate like that for the tie because it was ridiculous.
Of course, it's
also
insane.
It's like the greatest 21 skills. Like,
I was gonna say it's something that you do regularly in a game of 21 that no one can do in the NBA.
He did it when they were down 9 or 6. Okay, he had a putback earlier where he got an and one, where he did an offensive rebound that was kind of like just caught it off the fly, puts it in, and then somehow he breaks the free throw on purpose, puts it in. The Knicks are the first team, I think, ever to blow a 9-point lead in 35 seconds.
They ruined the Jalen Brunson bench revenge game.
Yeah. The plainclothes revenge game.
They also, honestly, it was so exciting that the day afterwards, the Bucks blew an 11-point lead in 2 minutes, and I felt nothing. That doesn't excite me.
That's boring.
Yeah, I've seen things way more tantalizing than this.
And to take like kind of a like bigger picture view of that, it's games like that like will coalesce a team around a superstar like Luka, because when you have that, it gives you it's that like Messi-esque kind of like raising the talent of everyone else because you have the GOAT, you have the dude with you.
My friend group that I text about NBA games with, we had a discussion about the teams we are surprised we have seen the most games of. And for me, it is the Mavs, who I don't consider myself a fan and have even slagged on Luka's Hardenisms at times, but I tune into the Mavs a lot because there are, not to this magnitude, but no player in the league provides this many, and it might be a combination of bad team, good player, magical end of game moments to me. Right, Luka. This is completely anecdotal.
Is he now the leader for the Jerry West Clutch Award? Has he passed Shai Gilgeous-Alexander on this free throw play?
Yeah, I would definitely, I would definitely have Luka as like the guy I want with the ball at the end of games, despite statistics telling me otherwise. If
I see anyone citing clutch free throw statistics without removing the misses on purpose, I will throw a fit. There will be blood.
All right. So like one last thing maybe about Luka. I'm a guy who doesn't drink beer anymore, but I celebrate the idea of a recovery beer. Go ahead and have you, whatever you drink, whatever weird Slovenian import that you only get and it's in no other bar in America, but you have a hookup. Like, go ahead, Luka, drink your beer after work.
It's moments like that.
I don't think Luka needs permission.
How good?
No, he doesn't.
To put back some beers.
It's moments like this that you got to wonder how good would Vlade Divac have been in today's game. Just from a sheer vice standpoint,
right?
Where we're allowed to just guzzle wine and drink beers.
I mean, Luka plays like that. You can have hookah in the locker room at halftime. Like whatever. Get after.
So
Luka hookah, let's go.
I sort of did a best thing. So we'll move on to our worst things. The opposite of the steak and eggs. Best thing is the cream of wheat. Worst thing, and here's my worst thing. It's related to these rare games, these rare statistical games. Like we've never seen anyone do 60 points and 20 rebounds in a triple double. And then like basically every game, Jokic is like he had 40 points and 27 rebounds.
Unreal. And like between the legs passes.
Yeah, and Harden is doing like 20 triple doubles, and then like you had Giannis had a 45-22. I'm worried. These events are like 1 in 1,000 events that are like a sign of an impending maybe global apocalypse. Are these signs of the end times? Is this global warming related? Why have we never seen it before? I'm worried.
I mean, it's definitely NBA climate change.
Behind it. It's NBA climate change, man.
I don't think there's meaningful. I think these statistical anomalous games are as meaningful. Like I don't think we should obscure the great players of the past due to, like Shai Gilgeous-Alexander averaging a triple double next year. You know what I mean? Like
I want to say Jokic has like 8 straight games where I can play the game where I'm like, no one's ever done this before. It takes a little bit of work on some of them.
Right.
Like he's literally posted something like these ridiculous number of games. The Kings got him last night on Wednesday night.
That was a good game.
It was a great game. It was a classic second night of a back-to-back. The Kings kept coming. We're the fresher team. Beat him at the end.
Jokic needed that recovery beer.
Speaking of those wild triple doubles, Todd Whitehead, who's Crumpled Jumper on Twitter, puts out these incredible infographics. He had one about the triple doubles by number of points scored. And what is harder to do in your guys' mind? To have a triple double with 60 points or have a triple double with 4 points? Because Draymond Green,
4.
Because Draymond Green has a triple double with 4 points.
Obviously 60, but that's a great question.
I don't think it is. Yeah. We have 2 60-point triple doubles in NBA history. We have 1, not just 4 points. We only have 1 triple double in NBA history that didn't involve points as one of the doubles. No 9, no 8, no And a lot of this is because before 83, 84, we're still not sure about a lot of the steal block numbers. I think we have most of them back to like the early.
I'm willing to wager that Wilt Chamberlain averaged a.
But you got to find a Wilt
double.
But you got to find a Wilt game where he didn't score 10 points.
Oh, right.
So maybe there was some weirdo back then who was averaging like 10. There was probably some guy, some mechanic from Pittsburgh who was averaging 4 points per game and they cut him, but he averaged like 10 assists, 10 steals, 10 blocks. And they were like, that guy can't score. Sucks.
He's no Joe Folks.
10 for 49 from the field. What's your worst thing, John? What's your worst thing?
So, I'm sure you both saw Killian Hayes cold cock Mo Wagner.
Oh man,
Kill Hayes.
I'm going to come at this from a different angle, and I hope this doesn't result in my justified cancellation. But I think it's sad and deplorable that did not end up being Malice in the Palace 2, because Malice in the Palace 1 is still the most pivotal moment in my NBA fandom and relit my passion for the game. And I was ready for a full-on riot between 2 of the most hysterical teams in the league to create a Highlander-esque fight throughout time, where the principal characters would be Bol Bol as the Kurgan and Killian Hayes as the as a member of Clan McLeod. But to me, this is just yet another indelible wrinkle in the Killian Hayes resurgence.
I spent so much time yesterday trying to come up with a rhyme for because Malice in the Palace, I needed this something in the Little Caesars. And I'm like, I got nothing. Here's what I came up with.
The seizure at the Caesars?
Yeah, I thought about the near seizure at the Little Caesars.
Yes.
The teaser at the Caesars.
Yeah, but that didn't make any sense.
It wasn't a real fight.
I took a name of one of the characters from Andrew Lloyd Webber's musical Cats, and I think we can appropriate this into calling it a word for a brouhaha.
McCavity? Is it McCavity?
I'm going to call it the Rumple Teaser at the Little Caesar.
I can't remember Rumple
That's
Teaser.
the best I got. I can't think of something about a breezer.
Can we do something to do with Julius Caesar?
I don't know. I'll tell you the best thing for me about this little altercation.
Killian?
I mean, 1, I've built a lot of connections to this altercation. Killian Hayes on my iShop negative fantasy team. I got the bonus ejection points. Woo! Nice.
How have you weathered the uptick in statistics?
The hot and heavy, hot and ready.
Oh, that's pretty good. That's pretty good.
Wow.
Killian Hayes has actually still been a stud.
This is kind of like the
$9.99
go pick up your own pizza version of the Malice in the Palace.
Yes.
So I was watching this game with my kids.
Geez.
And this was. I mean, let's go.
So your kid was into this, right?
Let's go full dad talk. This was my 5-year-old girl and my 8-year-old boy. We were downstairs with the basketball on, and they were actually sort of paying attention. And basically they said, the 5-year-old said, what happened there? did somebody foul? And then because we'd watched some World Cup, the 5-year-old was like, is there yellow cards? And I was like, nice, but no. And then they start saying, can you back it up? Can you back it up? And
see,
this is the first time.
Life.
This is the first time in my lifetime my kids have asked me to back up something on TV for sports. They're like, can you back it up?
Barbarous people.
And I'm like, well, they're kind of shoving everybody like they're going to. And then so we finally saw the replay, and my 8 and 5-year-old are like, can he do that? When Mo Wagner hits him, we're like, no, that's a bad play. And then the 5-year-old says, oh, he hit him. He has to be red carded. And I'm like, yeah, he's gonna get ejected. They were so into it. They ran upstairs and told my wife, like they wanted to know. They came back downstairs. They're like, who's the guy who did the bad foul? I'm like, Mo Wagner. They go upstairs. They're like, Mosif Wagner did the thing with the thing. And it was a big night in the Parrish household as the kids were thoroughly entranced with this push. And like, I don't know. It was a big deal.
I think you have a bridge to teaching Chase Buddy Budinger about MMA, because Killian Hayes totally mastered the force equals mass times acceleration. He found the largest part of his arm to hit the biggest part of Mo Wagner's brain. I mean, he had it.
So I want to go back to it because I watched that multiple times.
Of course you did.
Yeah. Killian Hayes landed a blow to the back of Mo Wagner's
Tito
head.
Santana flying forearm.
That's what it was.
The flying burrito.
Is Mo Wagner in concussion protocols? Because he just fell out. He just literally fainted.
I thought for a second that initially I thought he just was like, I'm not, much like Bielitsa back in the days. Like, I'm not angry. That was the touch of sleep. Yeah, it was the touch of sleep. Initially, I thought he's like, I'm not going to fight. I'm just going to sit here. I'm just not going to fight. I'm going to sit here and just be held by the assistant coach. But no, he got knocked out. And so I assume. Yeah. I assume obviously the punch in the back of the head and the resulting knockout is going to result in some kind of longer suspension. Games. Maybe they're not finding Dylan Brooks because other things keep happening.
They're so busy.
They're backed up. They got too much paperwork trying to come up. Because do you guys think the Wagner play? It's a bad play, but
it's a bad play. But
for me, it doesn't rise to.
No, you don't need to come off the turnbuckle.
A suspension.
It has changed the way my whole opinion of Killian Hayes is drastically different now.
Yeah, I didn't know. I think I now understand themselves.
I think I now understand why he was still getting playing time when he looked like the worst player in the world. I think his coach was afraid. Yeah. Is this like Mike? Was Mike Conley as bad as Killian Hayes early? Like, is this is Killian Hayes' career?
Well, that's a great question. I don't.
I wonder if this is just a kind of development that we used to see that we don't see as much.
Just like a maturation.
The slow come along for a top
point guard,
top pick. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
But I assume Killian Hayes, because of the resulting blackout,
right.
I'm gonna have to weather multiple games of him being unavailable. So I'm not dropping. He still does he still misses enough shots. He gets enough minutes where he still produces on the negative fantasy scoreboard. Chuck, what's your worst thing this week?
Man, the Nets are winners of the last 10. TJ Warren
15.
14 to 15. TJ Warren is balling. Royce O'Neal can finally hit threes. Yuta Watanabe still Yuta Watanabeing. And
it's so good.
I know you guys were talking about Zaire Williams and his inability to get a loose ball. Kyrie and Durant are both recovering one loose ball a game. I know that's a weird stat, but I was on the Hustle page.
I have a question. Biggest loser of the entire NBA season. I think it's Steve Nash.
I did see a picture of him drinking beers with Raja Bell.
Loser behavior.
It was Raja Bell and Boris Diaw. Come on, that is a drinking.
Three losers.
Sounds a lot of fun to hang out with.
In Plantation, Florida.
Trying to figure out what exotic beer can they were drinking though was really causing me some issues.
It was probably wife beater.
So as a Heat fan and somebody who watches the East, I am currently as afraid of the Brooklyn Nets as I have ever been. That is including the James Harden time. And because Kyrie needs to get paid this offseason, so he's actually locked in. Ben Simmons is shutting down whoever's in front of him. He had Donovan Mitchell the other night and held Donovan Mitchell to 15 points. It's
that's against the best
on.
one-on-one scorer in the NBA.
Right. And we got Click Clack Nick Claxton, who's
leading. He's more blocks than Rudy Gobert.
More blocks than Rudy Gobert. And their role players are playing incredible. So I know that right now there's, it's a lot of like nebulous what's going to happen with this season, but I don't know what the top of the East is going to push to the finals. The Bucks, they've just lost a bunch of games. I don't know what they're doing.
The Bucks, after going like 9-0 to start, are only like 13-11.
I want to say, right? Well, you guys remember that they played all their home games.
All their home
games. But I think I saw a stat that like the last 3 months are one of the worst point differential months for the Bucks ever. Like, with Giannis and Budenholzer, this current iteration of them being really, really good. No, I'm super bummed. Like the Nets have a way better record than the Grizzlies.
So shout out Jacques Vaughn for like taking a literal like destructive event and managing not only to turn around, but like to get this team to buy in, to excel. Kevin Durant has been in the league for a long time, and he's diving on the ground to get loose balls still. And that, I think, is a telltale sign of his like complete, he is.
What a year for Kyrie, because basically you have Steve Nash and Kanye West just making all his behavior just seems so docile and in comparison. So I mean, it's just free money, all those guys. But I think the Nets are the second best team in the East now.
I mean, they're by record they are.
Yeah, good point. I think I'd rather play the Bucks than the Nets right now, and I don't know for sure in a 7-game series who I'd rather face, them or the Celtics. The Celtics have been so awesome, but then you have these like kind of zeitgeisty games against the Warriors where you question things, but I don't question Kyrie and Kevin Durant in clutch situations.
I mean, I question myself for just being a dummy, for like being well, Nets are done. What do I need to worry about them? Even TJ Warren. Right.
We laughed at that.
Well, like I basically was like, do I think TJ Warren's coming back? I don't know. How much did he sign for? Minimum? No, I don't think he's coming back. and now he's like he's solid. Balling. He's contributing. He's balling. Man, and also man. Just having the role player, man. Just having a guy who will get a loose ball and knock down threes. Like,
enough with the Zaire.
The Seth Curry, Joe Harris alongside, like on paper. So it's a team on paper. Even in the preseason, we can say we expected a lot. We didn't know how good it would be, but we thought it was a low floor team. We're like, listen, if they get 40 games out of Kyrie and 60 games out of Durant, they're going to win a bunch. Similar to me, where I feel like a dummy, is the Clippers, where I thought the Clippers in the preseason, I'm like, this is a low floor team. Even if Paul George and Kawhi played 20 games together, well, they're going to go 17-3 in those games. So then you just got to figure it out now. But then we get into the season, they face some hard times. Norm Powell and Reggie Jackson are sucking. Kawhi's missing games and they're losing. I'm like, I'm done with the Clippers. They're useless. The Clippers have now won 10 out of their last 12 when Kawhi plays. The 2 losses at Philly by 5, at Orlando in overtime.
Yep.
It's like all of a sudden the Clippers are good.
Real question. If Clippers played Grizzlies in a 7-game series, who would you take right now?
Today?
Yes.
How?
I'd take the Clippers.
I need to see what the TV schedule is. Is it? Are we talking a Monday,
it's gonna be on national
Sunday?
TV. Keith.
Is it a 2 games every other? Because if so, obviously advantage Clippers. No, I still stand with my Grizzlies over the Clippers as they are currently constructed. I saw another thing that Clippers apparently made a trade, 5 straight trade deadlines for a veteran. So that's something to look forward to.
Wonder if they'd have any Dylan Brooks, Danny Green in the first interest.
Let's move on past our worst things to, we've got a couple of listener submitted questions. Maybe let's just do one listener submitted question. The croissant questioner.
Okay. I do want Briggy out there to know we will get to her question soon, but we're going to go down to the more topical question. Okay.
Yep.
Given the current attention seeking by one-time All-Star Wally Zerbiak regarding Tyrese Halliburton's potential to become an All-Star, what player, past or present, do you think never got their proper due as a one-time only All-Star? Who deserved or deserves their second game? That was from Derry Swindo, which is a maybe post Star Wars level name. But so what one-time All-Star do you guys think got the short shrift?
So
I think there is like a correct answer still playing right now. But
I will say I wanted to say I might have blacked out because I was looking at something else. Did you mention? No, did you mention how this question was basically inspired by Wally Szczerbiak talking bad about? So I think that's great. That specific thing is hilarious because Wally Szczerbiak, one of the worst All-Stars ever.
Yes, not worthy.
Yeah, like Wally Szczerbiak is in the list of hilariously bad All-Stars.
Although honestly, I can name a lot worse All-Stars than Wally Szczerbiak because like Tyrone Hill was an All-Star, Theo Ratliff.
So I'm actually looking. I'm trying to sort like these guys by only one All-Star.
I mean, Szczerbiak averaged 18 and almost 19 points and 5 rebounds.
Again, fine player in the history of basketball. Though I would maintain in my lifetime. He was one of those when he made it. I'm like him. Like
so, this question for me is so much
Halliburton
easier.
Also, Halliburton, by the way, right now is so much better than
oh my God
Szczerbiak ever was. So it's funny to me to hear Szczerbiak talk bad about him. That's all I wanted to say.
This would be a much easier question to talk about just who the worst All-Stars of all time. But
no, I like this question.
But for me, I think it's Drew Holiday who only has one.
The worst All-Stars.
No, the player who only has one.
Has one.
So, like, I know this guy's going to get more. I'm searching through these like guys who have just one All-Star appearance. Like Bam Adebayo has only one All-Star.
Yeah. I don't think that's good. I think you should try to stick with guys who you don't think will get
who
have
played longer.
Because Drew Holiday's was in 2013. I mean, that's a long time ago.
Right.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I
don't think he's going to get it.
I agree with you a lot. Like Drew Holiday is incredible, and it's wild he only has one All-Star game.
I think. Go ahead, Chuck.
What about Kristaps Porzingis?
That feels right to me.
Right? Like
feels right. It doesn't feel like I don't feel like I think
I mean he might make an All-Star team this year though.
Right.
All right. So here's one that I think this guy was really, really good for multiple years, and it feels kind of surprisingly as one. Like Jamal Mashburn. Not an all-time elite guy, but I think Jamal Mashburn very good player.
Similar vein, Horace Grant only has one.
That feels right to me. I don't know.
Well, here's one that doesn't feel right.
I might penalize him for just being, a dynasty guy. Maybe he should get credit for.
Did he make one on the? I think the one he made was when he was on the Magic, right?
I think you're right after he left the Bulls. But NBA history is not my strength.
This is a two.
Paraligo only made one.
This is a two Vlade show. We mentioned Vlade twice. I think he was like an incredible center. And only
Anthony Mason made one. He only made the one on the Hornets, I think.
John Starks only made one, and he was
feels right to me. Antonio McDyess only made one. McDyess was awesome.
Roll Tide. I'm going to do something that I feel like I'm going with what Keith has been saying, but what feels wrong. Rick Smith's one time feels wrong. Doc Rivers one time feels wrong.
Right.
Was Doc Rivers that good?
Doc Rivers averaged like
Jeff
10
Teague
assists a
one
year.
Time, way too many.
Say that again.
Jeff Teague one time, way too many.
Kyle Korver one time, way too many. Yes. Theo Ratliff one time. Let's just name all those.
I'll say we talk a lot, obviously, about Mike Conley, who we felt was ignored on the Grizzlies and should have gotten in. Then he got like the Lifetime Achievement Award on the Jazz. There's one, I feel like his career is more like he's like a 1.8 or something. Like he should have had like 2. It seems unlucky for him not to have 2 in his career.
Mike Conley, no All-Star games feels correct to me.
That's just now you're just being weird, being controversial. You're looking for rage clicks. This is not a rage click scenario here, John. They can't support us anymore.
Iguodala only has one. Does that feel right to you guys?
Feels right.
Okay. Tyson Chandler only has one. Does that feel right?
All-time great name from Fastbreak Breakfast show history. We always bring him up. Michael Adams only has one. Yeah. I don't know anything about his career other than he pops up in every statistical thing you search for with these wild numbers.
I'll tell you one that I was surprised to see on the list, but I think I don't know enough about the era. Bill Bradley was only a one-time All-Star, and I hear about Bill Bradley all the time. Is that just because of his senatorial career?
I think so. Was he?
But I feel like I saw him on greatest players lists. And
is he on the top 75 greatest players? Because
that's what I'm wondering about.
I think it was only because he was a Senator at the time.
I think the Drew Holiday one's good, but he could definitely get there as far as like looking at all these.
Can I nominate someone for their NBA Jam status?
Yes, please.
I can't believe Jeff Warnacek was only a one-time.
I thought you were gonna say Gugliotta.
Yeah.
One of the Googs. Scott Skiles also for NBA Jam status.
Kenny Anderson, who was incredible on NBA Jam.
Was he only a one-time All-Star?
Only one. Yeah.
That one feels off. That feels wrong to me.
But he was just such a I guess his college career kind of like
playground stuff.
In my mind, Killian Martin was better than just one All-Star, but I guess he wasn't.
But I think our official answer, I think can we come to I think it's Drew Holiday, like very clear.
Yeah. I think Drew Holiday, because it's very possible he ends up not getting any more. Danny Granger was really awesome for like 3 years. He only got one.
That's a good one.
But sometimes it takes a second. Like, you're really
Brandon
great.
Roy made multiple, right?
I think so. So Granger suffers from a thing where he got so much better unexpectedly, where by the time he was awesome, then all right, maybe he's rewarded the next year, and then whatever he might miss out because it's a crowded year for whatever reason.
He got hurt too.
I feel like we
big what if guy.
I feel like we did as good as we possibly could have on this question. Thanks for the question. If you have a question out there you want answered as part of the show or as one of our Millennial Brunch bonus hangouts, which may or may not happen before the new year rolls over, we'll put something in the Slack or post it on patreon.com/fastbreak breakfast if we can work out a time in the next couple of days to get December's in. In years past, we've done a makeup in January because the holiday time is obviously very crazy, even when your pipes don't freeze. So, anyway, if you want to get involved with that, you want to play in Pickle Pick'em, a new month starts obviously January, and you want to support the show, get involved on the Slack. The only way to do it, patreon.com/fastbreak breakfast. All right, it is now time for the awards segment of the program, the International Stackhouse of Pancakes Award, given each week to the worst performance in a box score. Got a few honorable mentions. Desmond Bain, Tim Hardaway Jr., 2 for 13. Jalen Brunson, 3 for 14. Jordan Poole, RJ Barrett, 6 for 21. Jordan Poole again, 7 for 22. Klay Thompson, 8 for 25. And also, by the way, Emmanuel Quickley was 5 for 21, but was saved by having 15 assists. Here are the 3 nominees we will be choosing between as they occurred chronologically over the past 10 days or so. Jordan Poole is on a bit of a heater. It's only a good game against the Grizzlies. Make it stop. Jordan Poole, in a humiliating loss to the Nets, was 4 for 17 from the field for 13 points, 1 rebound, 2 assists, 2 steals, 7 turnovers, and 1 personal foul. Anthony Simons, in a loss to the Nuggets, was 6 for 22. He had 14 points, 1 assist, 1 rebound, 3 assists, 2 turnovers, 4 personal fouls. And then Scary Terry Rozier, in a loss to the Trailblazers, was 2 for 17 with 7 points, 4 rebounds, 6 assists, 2 turnovers, and 1 personal foul. I think we can toss aside Anthony Simons. His 6 for 22 is disgusting.
I think you can toss all non-scary nominees.
I will say Scary Terry's 2 for 17 normally would be a slam dunk because that's awful. I would just like to reemphasize, and I have no ulterior motives, or I'm not bringing any baggage to this situation. I would emphasize that Jordan Poole going 4 for 17 and having 7 turnovers is outrageous.
Yeah.
4 for 17 and 7 turnovers against 2 assists. Is it enough to overcome a 2 for 17 where you have 7 points, 6 assists, 2 turnovers? I don't know. But I don't want to blow past how horrible Jordan Poole's game is.
It's Scary Terry.
Yeah, it's Terry Rozier.
I mean, I hate Jordan Poole too. Think he sucks. It's Scary Terry.
Okay. Yeah.
That game. That was one of the ones, like, every once in a while we have to throw out the iShop signal. Just to be like, hey, look at this.
Yeah.
That was one that elicited it. Yeah.
It's true. That's
Remember
true.
when I used to say Terry Rozier was an approximation of Kemba Walker? Now that's the case, but it's just not in a good way.
I mean, Rozier's the guy. Honestly, is someone going to trade for him? I mean, free Terry Rozier. He's like he's not terrible. You don't want him to be.
I love.
You don't want him
That's
to be your one
line, man.
You don't want him to be your like one go-to.
He can't run your team. He can't run your team, but he could give you like solid minutes.
But the Hornets are a weird team where like when the Hornets are there, they're good, and it's like it's painful when you look at the Hornets record and a team loses to the Hornets, and you're like, oh, but they actually have LaMelo Ball and Gordon Hayward tonight. They're a totally different team.
Gordon Hayward, one-time All-Star, seems right. Seems wrong actually.
Feels right. He was so good, man. He was so good.
That is true.
Karolinko only having one actually upsets me a little bit.
Maybe that's the real answer, but we got to move on.
Anyways, congratulations. I'm going to vote for Jordan Poole, but still Terry Rozier by a 2-1 vote. You are this week's International Stackhouse of Pancakes Award winner. Par fadeaway, gentlemen. What things are you looking forward to in the coming week?
Well, the Heat just put away the Lakers. The Lakers are bad. They, I think, turned the ball over 27 times in one game. It was awful.
It's a schedule loss.
Poor LeBron. But now the Heat are going on a West Coast road trip. They got to play Jokic, which I don't know if you guys remember, didn't go too well for a certain Heat player last year. He decapitated a Morris twin, and he couldn't play anymore for the rest of the season. I'm looking forward to seeing how
is this the first matchup since the incident?
No, they came and played in Miami.
Oh, it was like right afterwards they did. Yeah,
it was shortly thereafter. But now this is our first time going back there. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, I'm worried. This is a make or break time for the Heat. They're a game over 500, and if they come back from this road trip battered and bruised, which sometimes you do when you go on the road, then I'm not sure if this season is salvageable. They are 6th place right now. So I could be absolutely wrong, but this could be one of those road trips that destroys a team. But they did look good last night, and they have looked good in the previous matchup. So even though they lost to the Pacers on the day before Christmas. So we'll see what happens, but I'm looking forward to watch some NBA Heat West Coast late night games.
Unless someone talks me out of this, I am going to make a New Year's Day sojourn to see the Grizzlies play the Kings. Ooh. Also on that day, I will watch. I know, dude. I know.
That's the day. It's a day after they play the Pelicans. I'm very curious on what does a team's performance look like playing Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. It feels like an abnormal home back to back, but I guess the Grizzlies will have that challenge. Yeah.
I'm considering trying to do both games. I have to do some fancy footwork with the family.
Yeah.
But I would like to see both games. I know I'm going to do the Kings because I love the Kings. I don't know
Kings
why. It's been years of this.
The Kings just firepower, man. The offense is fun. I mean, the Pelicans. I want to see the Pelicans because Zion is the truth, man.
The best play. Yeah, I know. It's just weird. But also on New Year's Day, non-Grizzlies, Nuggets Celtics. Hell yes.
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah. The Nuggets were one paltry fourth quarter away from really rising to the top. It felt like in the West, just basically taking care of business because all of a sudden, Jamal Murray looks back. So Jamal Murray doesn't play in the loss. Michael Porter Jr. played in a back-to-back and is just drilling the shots again. I'm terrified of the Nuggets. I would take the Nuggets over the Grizzlies in a 7-game series right now, John.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Nuggets have a claim to best team.
Yeah, I think that's Chuck. You mentioned this. You texted earlier. I guess I'm not par fade away. We can shoehorn it in. You texted earlier talking about like what's going on in the West and just who is good in the West.
I don't know who actually is good. I know who's actually good in the East. And there's like 5 teams I would consider to be good. Everybody else is kind of like, all right, whatever.
Well,
I don't know who the good teams are.
There's a lot of parity, obviously.
Right.
On any given night, if the Jazz are playing at home, they're probably going to win. If the Timberwolves are playing at home, they're also probably going to win. Most of these teams, like speaking of me being a dummy, like the team maybe was the most wrong about was the Thunder. I thought even if they didn't do shenanigans, even if they didn't shut down Shea, I was like, I don't see the talent. I don't see the talent level enough for them to compete. I don't think just Shea's enough. but like Poku's become usable. Dort has become a better player. Jalen Williams is ready to play just right out of the box.
Yeah.
Giddey's been solid. Like they're getting the Kenrich Williams contributions, and like this team is competitive and they're solid. And when they're fully healthy,
but they are 12th.
But they are. So they're 12th. Here's my breakdown.
I'm ready to rank the West.
Let's say the West teams, and you just say we can all say if they're good or not.
Okay.
I'll start from the bottom.
Okay.
Rockets, no.
Bad.
No.
Spurs, no.
No.
Yeah, hell no.
Lakers, no.
No.
Bad.
Thunder,
No.
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 Timberwolves, no.
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 Warriors,
At home.
No.
yeah.
Yes.
Warriors are good.
On the road.
No.
Warriors. They're the first team to be this far into the season to have the best road record, the best home record, and the worst road
The
record.
best. Yes. I
No,
called this.
The Warriors are
called
good.
this
The
early.
Warriors are. Wasn't there like a Bulls year where they started 500 or something?
Yeah.
Or there's maybe a Heatles year that was, I don't know.
Yeah.
Or a kid. Here, I'm gonna put together my NBA history right one time. A Shaq and Kobe year where like the Lakers, started off mediocre, but then hung through the playoffs.
Their point differential is poor. Their strength schedule is poor.
They score a bunch of points, but they also can't stop anybody.
Warriors are overrated.
They can stop the Grizzlies.
I'm going to say they have had huge national TV games that have inflated an otherwise paltry performance.
They show up on national TV and win, and for me, that's at this point good enough.
I think that's
for the defending champ.
Yeah.
That's good enough for me. All right. Jazz. No. Trailblazers.
Yes.
No. Trailblazers not.
I like the Blazers.
Do you think the Trailblazers are going to finish with a better record than the Warriors? Because I'll take that action.
Let's do it.
I've not won a single bet in the history of on-air bets of Fast Break Breakfast.
You have to take a mayonnaise bath, I believe.
I delegated that. I'm still waiting. What about the Mavericks? A team I was basically down on. I feel like they're pretty good.
Yes.
They are the league's top
aside.
half-court offense team. One thing are the Grizzlies, they're terrible at. I still never want the Grizzlies and Mavericks to play a playoff series against each other.
Good Lord, no.
I think the Kings. Are the Kings good?
No.
I'm gonna say the Kings.
I'm putting my cutoff at Warriors and Mavs being good. I'm gonna say the Kings are not good. They can make the playoffs. They're respectable. But I'm going to assign my good label to I think 7 teams in the West, which is all the rest of them, which I haven't said yet.
I think that offense is good, but that defense is awful. So I'm gonna say not. They're not.
They needed that win so bad against the Nuggets. They got
did.
Suns. I think are good. The Suns are going through a thing right now. No Devin Booker for a month. Going to be hard.
Wild.
Clippers. Unfortunately, I think they might be good. The
Yeah.
Grizzlies are good. They're going through a thing right now.
Awful.
Just not making three-pointers. The Nuggets are good, and the Pelicans. Nuggets are good.
Yeah.
I think there are 7 good teams. I think there are 7 good teams in the West. I think they are all not as good as, I don't know. Do we put them all on par with the Cavaliers, the Bucks, the Nets, the Celtics, and the Sixers? Is there that much parity where there's like 11 teams are kind of?
I think the Sixers, if they were in the West, I mean, record-wise, I think they would be. No. If they're in the West, they would be the favorite to come out. The Sixers.
The Grizzlies and Sixers have the same record.
They do.
You are welcome, Philadelphia, for us helping you do that.
Right. I think if you take Boston, Cleveland,
John, you got it. Took you a second, but you got it.
I got there.
Melton related. So the top 5, I think I would take the top 5. Honestly, the top 5 in the East, head to head in a 7-game series against anybody in the West.
I think that's a fair opinion to have. I put them more as equal, where I'm all like, these teams are all really, really good. I would shade the Celtics over everybody. I think they're the best team.
I think the Celtics, the Nets, and the Bucks might all be better than any team in the West.
So those 3,
that's what Chuck is saying, and again, that wouldn't stun me. But
I think the Cavs and the Sixers are also like, I'm taking them against the Nuggets. Probably against any other team.
It's funny that we're having to. There is such a huge drop off in quality after the Sixers, and I am talking about your Miami Heat.
Yeah,
that is it's staggering.
Yeah.
Well, once we get
whereas the West is just a log jam.
Right. But I'm interested in what's going to happen in the West because historically, through the history of the show, the West has been a powerhouse, dominant, super force.
I resent Chuck for making this prolonged discussion happen at the end of the show, so I'm also going to throw in that I think the Knicks are better than the Heat.
They might be. They're right there. I was about to say the one thing that the team I feel the least confident about of those is like the Mavericks. But I saw something. I don't know.
No, they're awesome. They're awesome.
The Mavericks, when Reggie Bullock scores 4 points. When Reggie Bullock,
what are you?
When Reggie Bullock is able
to somebody about this
to score 4 points.
Keith, this is not a tweet.
They're basically unbeatable. No, they are.
Actually, Keith, this is a tweet. Go tweet it now.
I'm just eyeballing this. I'm saying there's something like 20-4 when he manages to score 4 points. More than 4. I think 4 is the cutoff. And they suck when he can't. But it's amazing because he plays. The dude starts.
He plays a lot.
And if he isn't literal garbage, they're one of the best teams. So it's that's their fun barometer for the Dallas Mavericks. Anyways, if you're in Memphis, don't miss Lizzo bringing the special tour to FedEx Forum on April 26th. By the way, did you know the special tour? It's spelled tour, T-O-U-R. I had no idea until I saw it on TV. The special tour is coming. Lizzo, get your tickets now with special guest Lotto at the FedEx Forum box office. Did I say it wrong?
You said it wrong.
2.
Okay, got you.
Okay.
I'm losing it. The number 2.
2-hour show.
O-U-R, 2-hour show. Anyways, if you want to support our show, do that at patreon.com/fastbreak breakfast. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel. Follow us on Twitter. You guys are the best. Thanks for listening. And remember, breakfast is the most important thing.